Generic greetings and welcome back once again to Airships Conquer the Skies. Today's beverage is a lovely peppermint tea. So in a previous update or two, if we go over to our design and fight and the airship editor, we can see that we now have, in terms of the weapons here, some nice little additions in terms of graphics. You can see we've got an improvement in the where the deck cannon is there. We've got a nice imperial cannon. So these all look a lot better, and by all accounts, also in terms of the resources, things like the coal store and ammo store, it can actually deplete, and you'll see this stuff going down. I haven't yet tried it, but apparently that is something that was added. But what was also added, which I thought was quite curious, as in terms of armor, we can go down and we have all of our options, and the last one is called none. We can make a ship with absolutely no armor whatsoever, and that got me thinking, what is the cheapest possible design that we could manage? Now, can I filter these? I can filter them, and oh no, that's just filtering based on the type of things that you can select, which is a shame. And cost, there we go. So the cheapest thing that we can make is the mini mobile wall, and then followed by the prim. Now the prim doesn't surprise me at all, because it is a primitive ship that was all about being not just cheap but also really, really low tech. So everything is a level 0 in technology. But can we make something that is cheaper than this mobile wall with no armor but also quite effective? So let's go ahead and see if we can do that. So obviously we're going to select none for the armor. That will be what we use. And in terms of the resources and stuff, we want to use the very, very bare minimum. So I'm going to go over to our resources. Actually, we'll check the weapons out first, and we're going to see what the cheapest is. So the blister, it just comes to mind because it is 20. And going down through the list, we can see a musket is the cheapest at 5. So we'll place one musket on there, and I think that is the cheapest one. That is, yes, the cheapest thing we can put on there. So there we are. So we've got the cheapest weapon that we can possibly use, the musket. Let's go over to resources, and we need a small ammo store. So we will put the ammo store probably, and a small ammo store, we'll put it there like so. We then need a way to, it says it's too heavy, no propulsion, no crew, more supply hatches. So we'll put a supply hatch. We've got a wooden supply hatch. I'm just going to place it there for now. It doesn't really matter. We will be shifting it. In terms of a lift, again, we're going to look for the smallest possible. We have a suspendium tank here, which if we place it underneath gives us a service ceiling of 199, so that is actually more than enough. Although I just saw that the end cap here is actually the cheapest, so if I place an end cap, that will also give us a nice way to float, so that is fine. That is the cheapest possible one. Can we rotate them around? Yes, we can, and I think that's probably what we will use. That means then we don't actually need any coal, which is pretty good. We don't have any crew, and we can't give any commands to the ship, but let's resolve that now by going to command and crew. We will place a berth in there like so. We will place, I'll place it there actually, and then I'll place a cockpit, which will go maybe in there, and then it says we've got no propulsion, so we'll check that out as well. So all we're doing here is building the smallest possible design, or the cheapest possible design. I don't expect this to work, but it's going to be an interesting thing finding out. Let's go over to our propulsion. And once again, I'm going to base this off cost. So we've got a small propeller flip. Now that is only 30. However, a sail is cheaper, and also, quite frankly, it's also a bit lighter as well. So that goes in there. And I mean, we could place it there. Do I want to place it a bit further back? I haven't yet decided. Perhaps if we do something like that, we can then place it there, which gives us better connections, which is fine. We can put that there, and we are technically, it's insufficient crew. We need one more crew, which we will put in, perhaps in maybe there, and then we have this gap. So that is the ship. It's not really that well, it's not really that effective, I don't think. 94 for the overall cost. I mean, if we really wanted to push the boat out here, what we could do is put another rifle in there. I mean, that's heresy. That's making it more expensive by 5. I mean, do we want to do that? I mean, that's not that is technically breaking the whole point in this thing. It's the cheapest possible design. So that is an illegal design, but that is legal because that works. Let me go over to, where is it? Overlays, and we can see the connections are actually pretty good there. is there any way we can make this a little bit better? Maybe if we put that there and then move this further back, we can do something like that, which is a little bit better connected, but I much prefer the supply hatch to go... I'd much prefer the supply hatch to be on the same level as... Ah, there we go, that's better. I don't want the supply hatch to be on the same level as the bridge. And there we go. Because I've rearranged this now, and you can see we've got the connections going around here, it means we don't have to put a slope in or anything like that, or anything dodgy. So that means that, yes, we now have, as far as I can tell, the cheapest thing. It's a shame we can't have an engine pod, though, because they do look really, really detailed. Anyway, let's have a quick look at these statistics. We have a cost of 94, so I believe, I mean, there might be a mistake here and there, but I believe that is the cheapest possible design that we can make. Yeah, I think so. We have a service ceiling of 43 meters. That is terrible. A speed of very good of 137 kilometers per hour. 6 crew. Recommended is 7, but we have got the minimum. No coal. Very little ammo. No water. No repair. And we got a decent supply with a command every 8 seconds. In terms of armour, we also have got no armour whatsoever. If we were to go off with wood wall, what would it be like? It would be, actually, it wouldn't actually be too bad, but yeah, we're going to go with none because that is the cheapest, even though, actually no, wood wall, it does say, it does have a weight with some HP, so actually putting wood wall on would be alright. You've also got a variant with windowless there as well, whereas wooden armour does cost, so why would we want none? The only reason we would have no armour is because we are essentially trying to lighten the load. So that's probably more of an option for like a really big ship that you want to perhaps heavily arm in some areas and just say, you know what, I don't really care about the crew quarters there. You know, they don't they don't fight on the crew quarters anyway, so it doesn't matter if that gets blown off for a skirmish fight. For a campaign, not so much. But anyway, we're going to go with probably then the wood windowless or wood with a window. I think the one with the window is probably the way forward, although that does look pretty good. Anyway, yeah, we're going to go with the windowed one. And that means that basically that is our design. It is the cheapest, so that's pretty good. I know we did set out originally to run with no armor, but I think this is fine. So we do need a name for this, and I'm probably going to go with the default one because, quite frankly, if I name it after a city or country or anything that we have done previously, people from that city or country are going to be very offended that I named the cheapest ship and probably the most useless ship after the place that they are from or live. So let's not do that. In fact, what I might do is name it the cheap. Do you want to actually spell it the proper way, or do you want to go cheap? It's the cheap. Okay, save design. Save. Leave there. Combat. On a day fight, we're going to add an airship, and we're going to put in, what have we got that's semi-reasonable? We've got a Barry, we've got a hull. A lot of these are obviously fairly useless and just ones that we've tried. Actually, what I'll do is I'll change it to the name again. So we've got, I mean, flamethrowers and stuff like that. I wanted around about the 1,200-ish mark. I mean, there's the Dresden. That would be a fairly decent fight. We've got a Leroy, which is absolutely garbage. We have the Rock Tosser, which actually is a fairly good design, but it's based on the Prim stuff. Oh, there we go, Sterling, which is armed with lots and lots of machine guns. So there's the Sterling. We're going to go to add airship and down to the cheap, and we basically have to put in as many as we possibly can to match the cost of this thing. Obviously these are going to probably fall out the sky as soon as it even looks at us, but yeah, we'll have to see how we get on there. So we are still underpointed. Right, we are at 1,504 and they're on 1,475. So they are technically overpointed. However, quite honestly, I don't think it's going to really make much difference because we are armed with rifles. Sorry, no, a rifle, singular, not plural, and they're armed with many Gatling guns and have steel armor. So yeah, let's click start and lose the fight. So there's on start. I'm going to go with a rapid fire because, well, let's be honest, that's the only really opportunity we have. It's obviously doing a proper strafing run, zipping right past us and going behind, which is Not really something I'm really too worried about, because I can just say flip to there and it will then flip round, and then there's our rifles in again. So we've got a little bit of fire on the left hand side. We've got another one just fallen out of the sky, which is never a good thing. I'm going to actually say go to there, and oh, they've actually started to move before they've flipped, which I should have done it the other way around. But there we go, we've now flipped our way around and damage is being done there. That's pretty good. Again, we're going to go a flip. We're going to move behind, and yeah, this isn't working out, is it? I mean, who would have thought that something like this would not be as effective? Although, if we pause it for a moment, we can see that damage has been inflicted upon this, which is quite interesting. I wouldn't have thought it would have been able to do anything whatsoever, but by all accounts, it has actually put out some damage, which is quite good. You can see it's doing another strafing run there, which I will just tell these two to flip, and that's all they need to do. And it seems that, yes, we are going to lose the fight. I mean, this is no great surprise, but what is of some surprise is just how much damage these have managed to cause to a very fast-moving, very heavily armed and armoured vessel. You can see that they have lost a lot of armour, and I think actually if nothing else, we will be able to survive because they'll run out of ammo, although I don't really know if that's probably going to be the case at this stage. No, it looks like they are going to take out the rest of them there. But we're just going to pause it and have a quick look here and just see how much damage is being inflicted. All on the top there with the bridge and the I believe that's a lookout near the back, near the engine where the suspendium chamber is. So there's the defeat there, which is not a surprise, but we did manage to do a little bit of damage. Okay, let's go over to Airship once again then, and in this time we're going to put in, what should we put in? Do we want to put in something expensive? I'll tell you what, let's put in the Athens, which is the latest thing that we designed in a previous series. Now this is a previous episode, should I say. I'm trying to flip it, but it's not flipping. Anyway, this is a carrier, which means we should do quite well against it. Let's go to add airship and then the cheap, and then it's just going to be basically putting them in as much as we can. Now, with it being 2,000, we probably just need, is it 20? Hang on, yeah, 20 of them. And another 2. There we go. Almost totally balanced. We are on 2,068 and they're on 2,059, so there's really not much between them. Start the fight, and there goes the shots. You can see they're coming close and they're probably getting shot. There goes the planes. The planes are trying to strafe us, but they're not doing much. Let's move forward, and you can see the speed of these things is quite good. They also have bombers, which the bombers can and will take us out very, very quickly. However, we are able to chase down the carrier. So we're chasing down the carrier. You can see we are putting out damage. They are sending planes afterwards. The bombers are the ones that are going to do the most damage. In fact, oh, if they keep doing that though, they will be shot out of the sky. And that's one bomber out, and there's a second bomber out. That's a win. That's a very, very, very easy win as well. Let's go over to the damage here. In fact, what I'll do is I'll put these on an aimed fire. I say it's a win. They've got another biplane by the look of it, so they're flying around there, trying to buzz around that area. And you can see now and again they are getting the odd, it is getting the odd shot off up here and down the bottom, and now and again also we are firing back. If it ever comes into this main line of fire here, it is probably going to be taken out very, very quickly. Speaking of line of fire, you can see that the carrier has taken a severe amount of damage. It's lost some suspendium chambers, it's lost most of the suspendium chambers, and has now fallen out of the sky. And now it means that this, yes, technically, and technically is the best kind of correct, I guess, we've got the biplane that's landed on this bit of carrier section because, yes, that is technically still a legitimate part for it to land on. It can't repair because there's no crew to manage that, and we've also just shot that from underneath it and then shot the plane itself, and there is the carrier going. So immediately we found, albeit a little bit of a niche one, we found a role for these vessels. Let's go to probably a landship this time, and we'll see what we can put against it. We've got Atlantas, we've got the adjusters. A lot of these are obviously fairly useless. Encroachers, I mean, that is stupidly large. In fact, I would wager that because that is nearly 9,000 generic units of currency, we won't even be able to field the right amount of vessels because we won't have the space. Physically, we just won't be able to fit it in. Let's go with something like the Paris wasn't very good. The T-legs were garbage. The Winter version 2, one of the best things we have made, bar none. Let's go with just the one of them for now. I think we'll have a little bit of a rainy night fight, perhaps. There we go. Snowy night. Yeah, let's have a storm. Why not? And let's go to Airship and to the cheap and oh yeah. Sorry, you can filter it down. The cheap and 1, 2, 3. I mean, do we need a stagger it rate? I don't think we do. Let's just put them right next to each other like so. And once again, we're probably just going to have loads of rows here. That's still well underpointed. And that is about it. We're on 2,444 and they're on 2,467. So we are underpointed. So let's start the fight. I have a feeling it's going to drive straight towards us. So I'm going to select all these, unpause it, and it is driving straight towards us. Now I had a feeling that was going to happen because it's obviously got flak. So I'm going to move left and back like so. So I want to keep them away from us. I will also put it on an aimed fire, like so. This one here has actually ran out of ammo, so it's going to be a ram if we get the opportunity. I also had a feeling that these things might be just excellent for ramming, because they've got quite a decent speed on, and oh, and here's me thinking we'd get a little cheeky ram off and it would look really cool. No, it's not. Well, we'll try it again. And it's decided to keep ramming the ground. Let's go up there. No, that's been taken out. So we are still firing. The problem is that we're not doing pretty much any damage at all. Let's say ram over to there. No, that's not going to be able to move. These ones, we can move them up. Let's try moving them to there. Obviously, they are a little bit floaty. You can see because there's not a lot of leeway in those. What's happening is that they are sort of going up and down like that, and they are sort of very springy. But we're getting closer. Make sure we keep our rifles in range. Obviously, we're on aimed fire. We'll keep moving closer. Although it seems like they want to go down. I really want to have a proper ram here. Come on, see if we can just ram the top and take that weapon out. That's it. That's what we wanted. That's exactly what we wanted. Right. So let's try it again. Ram to there. These ones to there. There's the ram. It's pushing them back. And we're actually, strangely, we're carrying this because it's still got suspendium, so we can still keep it aloft. Although it doesn't seem to be moving too well. Move them a little further forward. Keep going. What are we doing for ammo? On average, actually pretty good. Pretty good. Keep moving forward. Keep bullying it, because it's got much better longer range firepower here. And that's pretty much as far as we can go. In fact, this one might even get flaked. It's very close. Oh, just got a direct shot from the cannon, the turret there, straight into it. Let's do a ram. Excellent. That's broken that. The bridge being on the bottom is a problem. That's a problem. We're going to change that. We're going to change that. We're going to put the bridge elsewhere. But the first thing that happens when you ram is you take your bridge out. So it's not actually that good for ramming. And there's an ammo explosion. There we are. Right. Good. This is out of command. This is out of command. Some of these are out of ammo. It only takes one shot to that ammo store to completely break it. Let's push down here. And we're going to ram into the main cannon. See if we can do this. Ram. No, it's because this is aloft. We can't do anything. It's not under command. Okay. I can't really go up and round it because of the flak gun on the back. Let's just see what would happen if we select that and we say ram to there. I reckon it's just going to get absolutely annihilated. There's the flak cannon. But it has landed on top of that. which is actually pretty good. Let's move further forward. Oh, now that's just lost its top bit as well. Okay, keep moving forward. There's another explosion, and that is their weapons removed. Is that a win then? It's possibly a win. Let's go to max speed. See the damage being inflicted. The ammo is slowly going down, but we've only used half ammo. That's a win. Extremely surprising. Didn't think that would happen. Okay, open design, cheap. I'm going to remove that cockpit. I'm going to put it there. Now, technically, this is in a more vulnerable position for boarding, but quite honestly, if this thing's getting boarded, that's the least of our worries. So we'll save the design. We're not going to version 2 it. It's just going to be the new default. One more combat. Do we try a building? Do we really want to try a building? There's no way we're gonna win against a building, but we will try. It would always go at the back, so we're not gonna meta the fight here. Add airship, the cheap, and let's place them as much up there as they can. We are going to place some down the bottom there as well. Right, you can see we get a lot less than them. Start the fight. Move. We're going to move as close as we can. We have rifles. They have cannons. That's not necessarily the problem, though. The problem is that they have stone armor. That is the problem, really, that they have stone armor. As you can see, I am trying to push. I'm trying to use them as little. Basically, the best way to use these is to just ram them into things. But I found that that's pretty much the case in this game anyway. That ramming is one of the most effective ways to take things out. Which, I mean, in a lot of even sci-fi and things like that, you always see, ramming's just... You're firing all these weapons and lasers and blah blah, but actually ramming is just, oh, there you go, just mass. Just going into stuff like that. And then you get the secondary explosions, which then cause even more damage, and yeah. But actually, looking at this, obviously the front is not representative of the damage that we're putting out. But everything behind it is. And you can see there's damage, there's holes around here where we've done all of this damage. Like, there's fires up there, and we didn't specifically tell them to target that point. Oh, that's on fire. You might want to get out. Oh no, they managed to put it out somehow, or it's just burned its way through whatever was burning. No fuel source anymore and all that. So you can see the damage being caused. It's pretty good. We've lost 1, 2, 3, 4, I think. It might have been only 3 if this part was part of that one there. Obviously, a couple of them are out of command, a couple of them are out of weapons and a bit of ammo. But realistically, this is a possible win. I mean, I'm going to... Ah, that's a shame. I was going to use that one to ram the others in. Look at the damage there. The damage being caused is great. And it's all just blowing up. And we were only a little bit overpointed. I'm starting to think that these could legitimately be a reasonable thing to fight with. They're so cheap that you don't really care when you lose half of them in the first couple of minutes. But what you do is use them the first 2 or 3. This is obviously against single target damage. Against a fleet, certainly one that's got some high level, not so much. But a one-on-one, if you can ram into them, cause a lot of damage from that initial ram, then you can take them out and it'll be a death by 1,000 cuts with the rifles. Let's try to prove that theory by giving them a Dresden. High-ish level bomber. Well, it's actually not really high level bomber, it's just a heavily armoured bomber. And we're going to put the cheaps in. Now, because of the design of the Dresden, we want to not... We don't want to split these up. That'll be about right. I don't want to put them on top of one another. I think that would not work out. So, 1,504 as opposed to 1,538. They are overpointed. I don't think that's going to matter. What is going to matter, however, is the amount of bombs that we're probably going to face, which means I'm going to immediately tell these guys to move and get them out of the way. The initial shots, as you can see, have pretty much wiped out a couple of, or one of them straight away. But if we keep on doing this little sort of maneuver where we go past, hopefully that will work. And again, we're just going to zip past. We're trying to bait those shots out and spread them across, but that actually didn't work at all there. Let's keep moving back over. These ones can move forward. Obviously, you can see it's trying to keep pace with these, and it actually can't keep pace. We're a little bit quicker than it is. That's actually interesting. I didn't think that would be the case. So these ones here, we will unpause. I will tell it to move back to there. They will have to stop when it comes to those. But these ones at the back, we will tell them to move forward to about there. And we're going to keep these shots going. There's the shots coming out from the Dresden targeting something that was on the ground there. These ones I'm going to actually keep where they are. That is actually fairly fine, but they're going to do this little swing back here. So once again, I'm going to tell them to move back because we can do that. I'm also going to get these guys to move a little bit further forward like that, trying to keep within a reasonable range. I haven't yet been able to issue a command to put these on aimed fire because obviously I'm spending all my actions with it being a 8-second command delay. I'm spending them all on the move orders. Oh, and there's a misplay. I didn't think the Dresden would stop where it has, and sadly it's done that, and that's really caused a lot of damage to the fleet. Damage is still going out though. These guys I'm going to put on aimed fire. These guys can go on aimed fire too. Let's just pause and have a quick look at the Dresden. The Dresden is still in it. It's got a lot of damage on it. It has got a lot of damage. And it's going to cause a lot more damage when it goes across here, although it's actually just expended a lot of its shots zipping past us. So let's move to there and hopefully dodge the rest of this. These ones I'll say ram to the back because we need to push the others out of the way. And there we go. That's where it stopped. That is fine. These ones are on aimed fire. Those ones are on aimed fire. I'm going to tell them to move as soon as possible. Go, go, go. And we've lost another one at the front. That's... Oh, we've lost a couple. Alright, okay. That could be the final coup de grace, really, for this fleet. Although we're still doing our best, you know. Never say die and all that. Keep moving back. Keep baiting these shots out. Sounds like a commentary for World of Tanks now. And see where... Yep, that's going to move back over. So I will initiate orders as soon as I can to move those back. Go, go, go. And because we're micromanaging the moves, we're able to put this guy in a position where when it fires... Damn it, there's sadly one of the ones I couldn't avoid. Let's go. Managed to get past there. But when it does fire like that, obviously it's taking out 2 or 3 of them. It is taking out 2 or 3. So we've not got much left. We really haven't got much left at all. This one moved to there. Get out of the way. There we go. Still shots coming out. This one. Reverse, reverse, reverse. No! There's the bomb that hit and took it out. If we'd got a couple of decent shots on the suspension chamber or taken out something that would blow up. I mean, looking at it now, the damage is astounding on it. I would have seriously thought that one of these bomb bays would have went up. There you go. That one, it's going to try to bomb that. It's successfully going to do it. Because of its height, I'm not able, as you can see, I've just shot the nameplate off it. I'm not able to... Oh, good grief. Ah, that's taken out as well. I'm not able to ram it. So, yeah. We can see that that's happened there. Okay. I think I've seen all I need to see there. Let's exit that combat. One, probably quite quick one. Airship. What can we put in reasonable? I'm not going to put that in. No. The Leroy, the Necrosis. See, anything like that, I think we'd just defeat instantly. The New York, that might be a decent fight. Let's put the New York in. We would put it at the back there because it's long-range carrier. Add airship. Now this is where we are going to probably kill the game. Because we have to get all of these in as best we can. So we're going to keep placing them. And I don't know how many I've placed at the moment. 3, 6, 9, 12. Yeah. Okay, and we need double that. We're going to need a lot of ships. 50, basically. More than 50. Because these are less than 100 and it's 5,000. This is lunacy. Still unappointed. We can fit a few more in somewhere. And one more. There we go. Nope. There we go. 5,640 versus 5,641. There's 1 point in it. Okay. Start the fight. And immediately, just go to aim fire. We're not even going to really move them. Right, I can guarantee that anything that flies in this fleet is going to get destroyed. Yeah. So all of those planes have been taken out immediately. Here's the aerial Azars. They're going to suffer a similar fate. They are still doing a lot of damage though. But does it matter? Because we've just taken out anything that can float. It's now gone. No, technically 2 aerial Azars are managing to make it back. As you can see, damage on this is also ongoing. They have the range advantage with 2 suspendium cannons. I have the the horde advantage. Okay, I mean this is exceptional. I genuinely think this thing has a place. It's great to bring along for just 3 or 4 of them, just for the cheapness of it, the maneuverability, and the ability to take out aircraft. One could argue that if you spent a little bit more time and a little bit more money and not built it on the absolute max budget, you'd be able to make something better. Yes, you would. Putting a Gatling gun in it would make it much better, but then we have to make it, because that's heavier, we'd have to make it either lighter or put more suspendium in it, which increases the cost, and then you need more crew, and it just snowballs from there, and you get this, you know, huge sort of scope creep, essentially. But, I mean, look at the damage. The only thing that springs to mind at the moment is that these would be infinitely better if I put the rifle, you can see, is set back there. I'd keep the cockpit where it is, but I'd put a rifle here, and I'd have a rifle here. Actually, no, I would probably put the cockpit there, and then maybe put this berth in here, and move this further forward, so we have 2 rifles in a row. Because that would, well, theoretically double our firepower, and as we can see, the ammo, even on, I mean, do we want to put it on rapid fire? I mean, it would be rude not to, wouldn't it? Rapid fire, and you can see the horde of shots coming out of these. Even on rapid fire, we're not really using much ammo at all for how long this fight's taken, and we're causing damage. It's on fire from practically stem to stern. It's losing suspendium tanks faster than I can really commentate on. It's not moving forward or backwards, which indicates to me that it is probably out of coal because the propellers are still intact, but the suspendium chamber is not activated. So there's no smoke. Oh, there's a little bit of smoke coming out there, and now it'd start to activate. Yeah, it's begun to move, but it's losing stuff faster. Right, so this has been an aim fire for I don't know how long, and we've only chewed through about 5 ammo. But we're going to go back to aim fire, and we'll see the grouping of the shots. See that grouping immediately change? Yeah. So that's a win. They can't put the fires out. It's just going to rip through the ship now. Okay. initial thoughts then, good, happy. It was an experiment. Our original intent was to make the cheapest thing with no armour. We've actually made the cheapest thing with wooden walls, which means it does actually have no armour technically, but it does have HP. It doesn't have any resistance, any piercing or blast resistance, but it does have HP, so it can take a bit of a shot. However, thought it would be completely useless. Turns out, it's ranging from semi-effective to very effective based on the targets. One could argue that for almost anything you make in this game, but if you look at a lot of the things we've made where it's either really effective or not so much, it's normally the expensive niche designs. This has the advantage that it's the cheapest possible thing we could make. So why wouldn't you risk it? If I lose, right, if I built this in a campaign, for example, and I lost it like this, that's 5,000. Alright? These ones, they've only managed to destroy a quarter of it. And we've won. They've only managed to destroy a quarter of our fleet. I think there was about 50 odd, and we've lost 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Not even a fifth. Combat stats. Deaths, 40. Then 55. Most burned. Accuracy 13%. What a surprise. Shots fired, 15,000. Yeah. Yeah, so it's stat-wise pretty good. But suspendium cannon, accuracy 94%. You wouldn't expect anything less. And you can see all the ship stats, which we're not going to go down because they're all the same pretty much. Anyway, that's been a little bit of a mess around on Airships Conquer the Skies. And we've managed to make a cheap and actually quite effective vessel. I would, for the sake of probably version 2, I would change things around slightly and I would put in another rifle. I would also perhaps look at changing that end cap to a... Well, I might as well just show you. Airship editor, open the design, cheap. I'd rip off that end cap. I'd go for a suspendium dust tank. It's roughly the same size. That can go back there. The bridge can stay where it is. That can go there. And then another musket. And there you go. So it is 102 as opposed to the cheap, which is 94. So it's gone up by 6. Is that right? No, sorry. 8. It's gone up by 8 points. But service ceiling is 64 meters as opposed to the previous 36. So it's doubled its service ceiling. Is that right? 64 meters as opposed to 36. Yeah. And we've doubled the firepower for 8 points. Save design. Cheap version 2. It's not the ultimate in vessels, but I think that's much better than the original one. Better service ceiling means you can fit more in, means you can go higher up, better for things like the Dresden and that sort of thing. You don't have to skim the ground. It is open design. It is, let's have a quick look, cheap version 1 and version 2. It is slightly slower, but that's it. And we've also doubled the firepower. I mean, it's only double musket, but it's better than the single one. Either way, that has been a little bit of a mess around. If you have any suggestions for changes for the cheap as shown in the background there, then by all means, let me know in the comments if you have any ideas for brand new builds, challenges, etc. Also, pop them in there and we'll see what we can do. As always, hope you have enjoyed the episode. Thanks very much for watching. Take care and generic partings.